13 years.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
No, you
Yes.
have to go. You're married.
No.
No,
You,
no, but it doesn't drop. It's you
don't
speak
worry.
for yourself. Hi, my name's Maria. I'm a community member. Hi. And I have 3 children.
All right. How long?
Over 30 years. I've been a mother. And my
Whoa.
youngest is 14.
Whoa. Wow. Hmm.
Okay. My name is Melissa Ajay. My husband, Michael Ajay. We've been married for 9 years. This year's our 10th year anniversary. And been parents for 8 years now. And yeah, we've got 3 kids. And yeah, you can see we like each other very much.
All right. So you are still expecting. That's good. Uh-huh. Yes. Next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nana. I've been single for nearly 30 years. AKA, I'm nearly 30 years old, so I've never been married. Yeah. No children. How long have I been a child of God? A daughter. I've been a daughter for 29 years and like 10 months. Nearly 30, basically, yeah.
All right. Yeah, next.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Afia, or some of you might know me as Jill. I have been unmarried for 19 years, and, and I'm a daughter to 2 amazing parents for 19 years.
19 years. All right. So I'm sure we have the right compositions here. All right. So let me start off. Enochi, did you start parenting from Ghana or you started here?
We started parenting from Ghana.
All right. So the next question is, what's the difference training children in Ghana and then training children here? What's the difference? Is there any difference? Is it the same approach?
Yeah, there are a lot of differences. In Ghana, you have your way to do whatever you want to the child. That's true. You are free. When if a child misbehaves and you want to discipline that child, depending on the style you want to use. If you want to cane the child, you have the liberty to cane the child. The child cannot take you to the social workers or to the police station to do anything. So that's why I'm saying that you are free to discipline the child the way you want. But here, you cannot do that. The child has the right. So when you want to discipline a child here, it's a matter of trying to explain yourself to the child, trying to agree with him on certain things, and then to let him appreciate what you want to inculcate into him. You just don't just force him to tell him what you want to do. In other words, you can't tell the child, I want you to do this, and then he accepts it to do that. No, here it is not acceptable. So that's the difference. Where in Ghana you can bully yourself through, here you have to be diplomatic.
All right. And Akobia, how difficult is it when you gave birth to your first child, how was the experience?
Made me appreciate my parents more. Media is someone that line can come down a bit for feedback. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful experience to have a child, I would admit. But then looking at who I was from childhood to now, I look at my boy and then I smile. Because and fortunately for us, I would say my dad never raised his hand on any of us, although we were raised in Ghana. My mom or a teacher, so you can understand. Or if you school not there, But my dad was the direct opposite. So we were raised in these two extremes where my dad was almost quiet but very welcome. My mom was very extrovert or kasapa or that type. But then growing up and then bringing forth to Kobe, now I look at Kobe and then if he does something, now I'm torn between should I be my mom, should I be my dad, or should I be someone in UK? So then what ends up is I have to now negotiate with him and explain to him the reason why he needs to be scolded. Then he will say, Daddy, then why don't you scold me? Until when he's pleading for that, he understands the reason. Whereas on the other hand, so you go and look for your own cane to be disciplined. But over here, no. Sometimes you are almost forced, not forced, you are almost moved to stretch your hand. But then you realize that doesn't solve the problem because in most cases, growing up, I've realized in as much as we wanted to correct the kids, it was because we were exerting our anger on the children. So it wasn't necessarily correcting them, but we were finding a way to vent out our anger. But that wasn't necessarily correcting the child. And I believe because we've moved here, we've understood other ways of solving the same problem. And I believe it brings in a beauty when you can blend both home and over here to correct a child. That's what I would say.
Mrs., you have anything to add?
Yes. Hi. Communication. Yeah, Pastor Meso, growing up, no, my father was a lecturer, so he was very disciplined. And mother, she was a trader. She goes to the market. So, me papa was bringing up from a strict background. Me mama is not okro. So, all the time, me papa was a bad one. Ye bibi anya, ye disienu, ye encouragement. But later, when he finds out as well, I know you're trouble. Yeah, so growing up, sometimes it was difficult knowing our father, thinking he's mean, thinking he's bad. But as I grew up, I understood many things he did. He might have done it in the wrong way, but he did it for good. And I'm always thankful to him for who I am now, because when I see what other people do, I find it difficult to understand why they are doing that. But I find it blessed for who I am now because of my dad. Joe, it was discipline, but it was for my own good.
All right. Mickey.
Yes.
What are you doing differently from how your father trained you in relation to your children?
All right. Well, I grew up partly in Ghana and here, so there's two different elements of it. Growing up in Ghana, as Uncle said, the parents, they are very different. There's no understanding, there's no reasoning. It's all about trying to get you to understand their way. So it's physical altercation, if you put in that sense, which was yababu. But here, sometimes Vanessa does a lot better than I do in terms of reasoning with the kids and understanding why they've done something, and she will sanction them. I struggle with the balance of reasoning and going straight at them. So sometimes she always say, they be out the street. All right? But I don't know how to. When I punish them, it's a little bit difficult for me. Well, she will punish them. She will probably take a ice cream for a month. Me, I'll take it for a week and I start feeling guilty. I'm trying to find ways for him to get it. But I'm very forceful, which is quite different. So it's finding that blend of understanding them, because Isabel, you have to deal with Isabel differently than you deal with Isaiah and deal with Ella. They all have different needs. So finding the right balance. Whereas in Ghana, it's one way or the other way. If you do something wrong, you get beaten up, whether you have needs or not. So The difference is just trying to find a balance between the different kids and understanding them.
Vanessa, it's as if you do a better job at home than him.
Man can say, man can say.
Because you have the patience to go through reasoning. How do you do it?
Also for man can say, Debbie.
Who now wants
Me
to
say,
be
Oh yeah, Debbie Tobo. I said I've been reasoning.
Yeah, I would say, sir, I'm definitely a lot more patient than Mickey. In most times, I think, because I think so. I think how you're brought up, sometimes can shape maybe the way you treat your kids. I didn't grow up initially with my mom and my dad. I grew up with my auntie, and so I was raised by other people. And tia was a lot, and I know how it made me feel. So I think I don't like to do the same to children. So that's allowed me to be a lot more patient and trying to make sure, say, if they do something now, I would definitely let them know what you did was wrong. But I think that I'm just a lot more calmer before I approach. Whereas I think Mickey's, Mickey's just a lot more, he's a lot more sharper. He'll go straight. No, I think what he's trying to say is Mickey would say, oh, I'll take your phone away, and then maybe not take it away. If I say I'm taking your phone, I am taking your phone.
Oh, really?
Hey, that's true. If I say something, I'm going through with it. So before I say that I'm going to do something, you know I'm...
Mickey, you are not patient. She said it. Be patient, let her finish.
I think he's a lot more quick. He's a lot more... So I think they're more scared of him in that sense. Because I think he's just a lot more...
They're not scared of me.
No, they are.
They're not scared of me.
Like, they are more scared
So
of you.
we all have different ways of approaching our children. A system works for me. Her system works for her. It comes to the same thing. So she's a little bit patient, all right? And I'm a bit more not patient as much as she is, but yeah. No.
Learn the fruits
so
of the
who are you
spirit.
defending? All right, thank you. Your case is a case that we want to really learn from. The next person. How difficult it is it for you to train your children alone?
I come from a very large family, so I've got many uncles and aunts, and we've grown up really close. So, me as a parent, if I can't deal with you, I'm going to call my uncle to you.
Oh.
But I have been blessed because my first son's my angel.
Wow.
And he's set a high standard to his younger brother and sister. So the first thing is, your brother would never do that. And all in all, I've just learned to mix a bit of the old with a bit of the new. Because I was brought up very strictly by my mum. But I don't agree with everything that she done or the way she decided to discipline me. I appreciate it. But growing my children, as I said, I mix a bit of the old with a bit of the new. So you don't always have to go and beat your child, slap them or anything, but there's ways to discipline them in stages and give them warnings. And there can be consequences. Doesn't have to be with the strap or the hand. But don't get me wrong, if I had to go there, I would go there, you know? But generally, I am truly blessed with 3 children that I haven't had to string up too many times. So, yeah.
Right, so what I'm learning is that if you're a single parent, you still need others to help you train your children.
Bringing up my children, their dads have been in their lives. And as I said, I've always had family members for them to look up to.
All right.
So it's not been, oh my gosh, I'm here by myself.
Yeah.
I've always got family network.
Okay.
And our family, back in the days, I say back in the days, but when my children were growing up, we were all very close. and we live within proximity. My mum used to take, if I was working, my mum would pick up my daughter from nursery and stuff like that, bring her home until I get home. I had my cousins living with me, so they would help take the children to school. I didn't suffer. I was single, but one of the fortunate ones.
All right. Thank you very much. Growing up, I had a father who was free with a lot of the children in our home, but he was not free with us. So when he's coming back from work, he will shake the hands of everybody except I and my sister. I don't know, you see, when you look at Michael, Michael is vocal, he goes out, he has friends. Does he do the same thing to your children at home?
Michael, please don't look at Melissa. Melissa.
So I'm looking at the father's relationship with the children and the mother's relationship with the children. That's what I'm looking at.
Honestly, I think Michael has gone through a journey of becoming a dad. So, you know, in terms of him learning on the journey of life. So I think if I compare it to maybe a couple of years ago, I would say maybe not so much. Maybe he was more focused on providing for us. But I think he's gone through the journey of understanding his role as a head and his role as a father and how he, you know, interacts now with them. Definitely, you know, he takes time with Nathan, with Joel, with Annalise, even more than me now. So yeah, it's been a journey that I think maybe he can also add to it. But yeah, that's what I think, that it's been a journey that he's grown into. Yeah.
So how many children are in your house now?
3.
Are you 4 or 3?
We've got 3 kids now, 1 on the way.
Oh, no, are you 5 or 4?
Oh, family of 5, yeah.
Oh, you have 5. Why are you saying 5? Why are you saying 5?
Yeah.
Because you said that Michael.
Yeah.
No, are you part of the children in the home?
Oh, no.
The
4
fourth is like
children.
the Son of Man.
All right. So, you know when you said that, hey, he would provide for us.
Oh, okay.
So the us has seen the mother becoming another baby in the home.
Yeah, definitely.
How does the mother become a baby in the home?
How does the mother become a baby in the
Yeah.
home? No. The mother is not a baby in the home.
None
of us.
Have you seen a father saying that I am also correcting my wife because she's under my care?
Yeah, sometimes.
Does the mother become a baby then?
Yeah, at that point,
So
yeah.
are you a baby now?
No.
All right. Michael, how has your journey been?
Yeah, so I think it has been a journey. I think taking on different responsibilities. I think at the beginning of the journey, I wasn't so present in terms of the nurturing of the children because I was out there providing for the family. But I think as life went on, different circumstances happened. You know, I became, especially the last 2 years, I've kind of stopped the pursuing and been more present at home. So taking on that different role. So I just think it's just seasons in life, you know, seasons. I think the love and the goal are still the same, but it's just the way that it's done has changed over the years. Yeah.
All right. Mommy?
Yes, Pastor. Yeah, Nana's here.
Oh, Nana, sorry. Mommy, you are supposed to be here.
Yeah, she should.
Nana,
Yes, Pastor.
are children here stubborn?
No. Please, he asked me the question, not you. Thank you. Children aren't stubborn here, but they are more aware of their rights and their right to exercise their rights. So that's where the difference comes in. Like Dad said, in Ghana, you as the parent have free reign over the child to do what they want, to do what you want. Here, it's not that you don't have free reign, but you're pushed more to talk to the child and explain things to the child and see right. It's not a dictatorship. It's a relationship where I'm raising you, I'm leading, and you're following. this is why you need to follow and do things the same, like this way, as opposed to, hey, jai, nama jai. Some child will ask you, Ade. They'll ask you why, and that's the thing that I think a lot of parents, especially in this church, they don't like it. When I used to ask my dad why, he would tell me because why has 2 hands and a long tail. And I'll keep asking him until he has to give me an answer, because I need to understand your thought process and why things are being done this way. So it creates understanding. I feel comfortable and I can allow you to raise me, if that makes sense.
So is the reason why just this morning something happened at home. So they were taking their bath, and I was told that the water is now cold. Then Ira came and said, Daddy, would you go down and turn the water to be warm? And I looked at her, what's it say? Ira, telling me to go and change the water. Come on, how dare you tell my father that he should go and do something? Have you had any disagreements with your parents before?
Yes.
And how was your approach?
So when I was younger, there was no approach. There was do as I say. And that, in fact, made me more stubborn. That made me be, well, I don't want to listen to you. You're my parents, but I don't care. Right? But as I've grown up and I've formed a different relationship with my parents, they can sit me down and be like, no, what you did wasn't right. And I'll understand because they're conversing with me. There are certain things that I think we hold on, let me not say we because I don't have a child, that some parents hold on that I think is okay to let go. I think if Ira asking you to turn it on, if you don't want to, you can say, no, Ira, I don't want to. But if you become offended and you don't say, oh, it's because I'm the parent and this is how I've been raised, so this is how it needs to be, and you just say no, and then she's not going to want to even come to you later on in the future. It will manifest later. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
You know?
Yeah,
so I think that there's certain things, like right now, if I ask my dad to do something, he'll do it for me. The same way that if he asks me, because we are in relation with each other and we have that understanding with each other and there's the respect that flows both ways. You know?
Yeah.
There's a saying here, the respect is not given, it's earned.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, being somebody's parent doesn't automatically give you that respect. How you parent, how you interact with them, how I see you go through things. Like my dad will sit me down and be like, I've had such a hard day today, this is what's happened. It makes me feel for him. I understand the struggle, or I understand a bit more of the struggle that he's going through, and it makes me want to be a better child for him. But if he comes to say, oh, I need my brain, then yeah, men kasa ho. And I will go and
That's it.
and then you say hey, and that separates the relationship with the parents. I'm very lucky that I'm like this with my parents. I can go to them about anything. I think we need to do better with encouraging that relationship between parent and child, especially even more so when you've had the experience there and you've had the experience here. You can pick the good parts of both and put them on your child.
Wow. Oh, you got your mic. Let me ask you. Have you been treated badly by your parents before?
No, I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say badly, looking back. But in the moment, you're probably like, "Oh, this is really
Treatment
unfair.
you
I
never
don't understand why they're not letting me do this, whatever." But I'm gonna use my dad as an example. So
Okay.
if I've asked my dad for something, or I'm asking him for permission to do something, and he's like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay, but why?" He won't be like, because I say so. He'll sit me down and be like, because A, B, C, D, E, all the way up until Z. And he'll be like, this is why I don't think you should be doing this, whatever. And I'll be like, okay, but I feel like I should do this because whatever. And then we'll have that conversation, and we'll usually, if we both don't agree, then we both don't agree, but usually we come to a mutual understanding, and we're just like, okay, I won't do this and I understand this, but next time, I won't do that exact thing, but I'll do something different so you're more comfortable with what I'm doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't think I've had a really bad interaction with either of them, really, to the point where it's actually fundamentally affected my relationship with them. But just like in the moment, I'm like, that was annoying.
do Seventh-day Adventist parents force their children to go to church?
I don't.
Oh, you have coaches here. They are ready to help you. No, this is a general question. Do we force you to worship? Yeah.
To Henry,
I
Henry
feel
said
like-
no, let him answer.
I would say yes, they forced us, but right now I'm happy they forced me to to worship. But before, I would say I wasn't, because I was forced to be there. But right now I'm coming by choice, because I know what I'm coming for and what I gain from it. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, but yeah.
You are doing a disservice. Force them to worship God. And later in a year, they would appreciate. Force them.
Pastor, there's two elements to this. There's two elements to this. Forcing a child.
So for ba.
Yes. Growing up, I was forced to go to church, right? Morning service, 5 a.m. alone with God.
Oh, no.
Temperance, choir practice, AYs, Fridays, all of it. So what it does is I was not exposed to anything else. So when I had the opportunity to go off to uni and I was exposed to something different, that something different was sweet. The Saturday was when everything was happening. So it kind of conflicted with my ideas of whether I want to go to church, because I had the opportunity not to go. When I was at Auntie Lucy's house, you had to go to church or you didn't get food. So I came to church. When I went to uni, I was independent. I didn't go to church at uni. I went to church probably a couple of times. That was it. So it's about understanding the reason why we go to church. That was never explained to me. It's just that, sorry. So I never understood the reason why we're going to church until I built a personal relationship with God later on. And I realized this is why I want to come back into church. I think forcing our children is good, but with reason, rational. So you give them the rationale behind why we worship, especially on the Sabbath. Because when they go into schools, they get given different options on different days why they worship. So if they understand why they worship on the Sabbath and the rationale behind it, they understand it. You don't give them the option to choose, but you can then encourage them to come with you as well. But I don't agree with just forcing them every day.
Yes, Nana.
Yeah, I want to add to that. I don't think forcing should be the right thing to do. Because no matter what, like Nikki said, at some point you will rebel and you want to go and see what's out there. I think for me, my parents, one, they explained to me the reason why, but they showed me the effects of what it is to be without God at a very young age. They showed me certain things that my parents, I think, for sometimes when you're going through certain things, but you're not understanding that what you're going through is a testimony for that child as to why they need to stick with God and as to why they need to continue to build their relationship. There's certain things my parents went through that I know for a fact, if it wasn't for God, Ankamwase. And that can be something that I can hold on to that's then going to build up my relationship with God. Do you know what I mean? We have so many Bible stories in the Bible that we can hold on to, but some of us are living testimonies of even the things that happen in the Bible right now that your kids can see.
That's right.
And what you're doing in church also needs to be what you're doing at home.
Yeah.
Sometimes the reason why the kids think that they're being forced is because you come to church and you put on a show. When you go home, it's completely different. You know? So what you're showing is not matching what you're doing.
So be the sermon.
Be the sermon. Yeah.
Yes, Mommy.
Yeah, to add to what they have said, I think forcing them to come to church is not a good thing. I remember I was Sabbath school superintendent for a while. So I want to get to church by 9 o'clock. So by 8:30, everything is done. On Friday, I'll call them, please get your stuff ready. 8 o'clock, they are still sleeping. And it's just so stressful because I've done everything. By the time they wake up, their breakfast is ready, everything. But you go and wake somebody. So one day I decided, you know what? I'm just going to take a different approach. By 8 o'clock, 8:30, if you haven't finished, you are not ready to go, I'll be gone. Wow. Yes, because it was like Saturday. Yes, I want to come because I've got something to do at church, but I'm missing the whole thing. I was, at the end of the day, I don't think I get the blessings because I leave home angry every Saturday because they are not ready to come. So I said to myself, I'm going to take a different approach. So one Saturday, I woke up. Everybody knows that I've been cooking all the time. I made everything ready. I started packing my things to the car. I just kept quiet. Then Papaya just woke up. Everybody, wake, she's going.
Wow. Wow.
So when we came home, then we went, Mommy, I said yes. Today, when you kept quiet, didn't see that we went to church on time.
Wow.
So I learned something from there. So I said, you are always doing it on purpose. So I said, okay, so going forward, what do we need to do? Then he said, okay, don't talk. We know that we have to go to church by 8. So just get ready. Pastor, that day they didn't even have shower because I said, I'm not going to talk to anybody. They just woke up, dressed up, and by the time, so when I saw that, then I slowed down a bit because I saw that they were coming. So it's not easy in this country, whereas, as Daddy said, in Ghana, they know we are going to church. So they don't have that, opportunity to go and wake them up or do something. But here, you just have to negotiate with them. You have to be patient with them. You have to understand them. So from that day, I didn't wake them up. They knew we have to go to church because Mommy is Sabbath school superintendent and she needs to be at church by 8:39. So, forcing them doesn't help.
All right, so maybe this will be one question that everybody would say something on. We are now here, Yawaha. What is the best way, or maybe a better way, better proposal you want to give us that we can train our children to be God-fearing and still be in the church and also be academically up there? What do you think, what approach do you think would help the Jay-Z generation as you train them to be godly in the time we find ourselves now? So this will run through. Whatever experience you want to share with us, whatever you have read, whatever you know. From there, I'll just get into the congregation and then we'll start the general discussions.
Okay, for me, I think both parents should play a part. In some homes where the mother is trying to let things flow or go on smoothly, maybe the dad may be dragging his feet, and so the case might have the mind that, it is mommy who is trying to force us or do this and that sort of thing, so they'll try to. And then the other way too, it will be the dad, and then the mom will be the one retiring the progress. Always, if you agree to do things together, then the children cannot play any tricks on you. So you have to know what you are doing and agree on what you are doing or saying to them. Because at the end of the day, if they are okay, it's to the benefit of the whole family. Yeah. But if they go wayward, it's the family that suffers. And it can also have effects on the other siblings too. Especially if the first one should go wayward, the rest will follow up. So we have to be very careful in treating the case or trying to direct them. I've seen, even from the way down home we treat them and the way we go about things here, it's better to dialogue with them. It is better to dialogue with them. Because in dialoguing, they try to understand more and then appreciate why they should do certain things, why they shouldn't do certain things. But to force things upon them, they'll go out, learn something, and say, Why am I being forced to do this? So if they understand why they should go to church, who is God? Why do we have to go and worship? And why should it be on Saturday, which is the Sabbath? If they understand all these things, then gradually they will appreciate why they are doing it. And let me tell you, initially it is not easy for them to, and whereby you go to school and then they also try to teach you other things, which conflicts with what you are being taught at home and then at church. So that means that we need to be praying very hard for the children to understand and then also appreciate what we are doing. If they tend to love us and understand and agree with us, whatever they are told elsewhere, yeah, it can sin. But even if they have to have an examination on it, they will do it, pass, and then forget, and then and they won't actually take that as the main course of their life. They will leave it elsewhere and then follow the church principles. And if we should go by that way, it will help all of us.
All right. So let me go here. Nana, help us.
I think learning that one size doesn't fit all. So if you have multiple kids, okay, I'll use me and my siblings as an example. I'm someone that I don't respond very well if you're shouting at me. So if you're shouting at me, I shut down. Everything you're saying is going over my head. With my sister, if she's upset about something, she wants to be left alone. So as the parent, you have to understand the different personalities of your children and understand that what works for one child might not work for another child. Yes, you have to treat them all equally. Yes, they all get punishment or they get talking to or whatever, but how you're doing it might need to differ for every child. There's some children who put me up like they don't even feel the beating you're giving them. But some child, take away their phone or take away their favorite book. Oh my gosh, see tears. Do you know what I mean? So as parents, you have to pick and
Balance
choose.
it, yeah.
You have to balance it and learn the personalities of your kids.
All right. Yes.
Let me use myself as an example. And I've come to realize that when they are young, that is when we need to spend a lot of time teaching them and nurturing them in the Word of God. As they grow to become teenagers, they begin to explore, to find their self-identity. Because until then, it's you say. It's like almost like an imposition. Now they get to a place where now they want to identify or find who they actually are and what they want to stand for in the future. At that point, when I got to that point, our house wasn't far from the church. No, a deaconess. It got to a time, I remember once, Wednesday, I swept the whole church, from this church. Made a prayer, the whole church, because I swept one lane, the deaconess were not coming. She wasn't feeling well. Then I came to the other end, I swept Obiambaye. I swept the middle Obiambaye. Minister take from 2 o'clock, now, it was 7 evening prayer. Says, my prayer, the whole church, what I'm saying, we're committed to, Saturday, I saw you soon. Made a prayer, so I name. But it got to a time Wednesday or sorry, I could feel me call you, Mama Cobra.
Wow.
Yeah, Mama Cobra. But she will leave home, I'll be at home. She will come and I'll still be at home. And it wasn't like, me co baby and answer baby. But I realized that it got to a time you want to find it for yourself, not their cultural. And at that age, I believe parents should be a bit accommodating and then tactful at that age. And yes, sir, when you pass that age, then you settle yourself. The seeds that were sown in you when you were much younger, I don't know they yield fruit at that time. And I believe that at that very young age, so when you about finding a very good relationship, not acquire banter. No, do the age of identifying for himself. Now when you find any good reason, I'll bet jump out, and that might be the end. That is my observation. Using myself as an example. When I went to uni, fellowship, I came here. It's carried on from there. But after between Form 5 and 6th Form, Wednesday, Friday, it wasn't like I was rebellious, but who the reason why I make. However, when I passed that age of trying to find who I am, what do I stand for, what do I want to believe in, and all of that, because of the seeds that were sown in me through AYS, adventures, hiking, it's distilled in me, and I was able to come back home. Not that I went wayward, But sanka yenya any good foundation, and tipping over would have been easy, and I'll go away. And I believe that in the same way, when we find our children and our youth at uni, it's a tactful age. We need to play safe with them. And yes, sir, instead of winning them, we are actually driving them away because they're actually struggling to identify what should I believe what my mom believe, what is the purpose in that. If we're able to approach, support them at that age from finding their identity and their true purpose and the meaning and the reason for God in their life at that age, I believe that when they settle, they are settled for good. And yes, I will struggle with them. Using myself as an example.
All right. Yes.
Pastor, I think it's important that you're on the same page, like myself and Vanessa, when it comes to decision making, we're always on the same page. So if she's not sure, she'll tell them, go and ask your dad. There are certain decisions that I wouldn't make. For example, Vanessa is very organic. We don't do no fizzy drink, no sweets in the house. So we have to eat in a car. But so if Isaiah wants sweets or Isabel wants chicken and chips, right? I think chicken and chips are okay for kids. I grew up on it. But I wouldn't buy it for them because I know if I come home, there's wahala. So I'll keep that. If Isaiah wants something, he'll probably ask Vanessa, and Vanessa will be like, no. And he knows he comes to me, or I would say no without even having conversations with her. It's just try and be on the same page and having a good relationship with your children as well. I think Vanessa's got a very healthy relationship with Isaiah. I say that to her all the time. They always talk every night as I be lying on the bed. Every single night. So they bond together. And it's really important to praise your children as well. I quite remember Isaiah did a test at school, and he did well. And I said, well done. Why are they? I was proud of him. He got really motivated, really excited. The next one, he was just striving and trying to do a lot better. Is having that clear praise with your children, not always disciplining them. When they do something good, acknowledging it as well. I try to do as much as I can. Vanessa does more than I do, but I try to do as much as I can. But it's always praising them, and they want to do a lot better for you, and definitely being on the same page as well.
All right, Michael.
Yeah, I think it's having a clear vision in a home, an aligned vision with your children, so that they get to understand where is it that we are going as a family. Because I think it is very difficult to create an atmosphere where you're succeeding in academic and also in, spiritual life. But if you just have a system in place and be intentional that this is what we want to do, we're going to try our best as a family to make that happen. So when it comes, for example, with me in my home, I grew up on morning devotion, like in the house clean, I grew up on morning devotion. My parents will wake us up every morning to do morning devotion. So what do we do at my house? Before we leave, we're doing our Sabbath school. And when it comes to the academia as well, I think Michael said it right about praising them. Because we have to also recognize that even though we're trying to have this set system, every child is different. And every child will respond to with a discipline and praise different. So it's also about having that tailored approach to this child. Jojo wants the hugs, and he wants to be able to be, kissed. With me, I didn't grow up like that. So I'm learning. When he comes to me, I'm like pushing him away, like, why are you touching me? Go to your mom. So, but I'm learning that is how he receives love. So I have to be more affectionate towards him. Like to Annalise is different. She's the girl, oh come. But to Joel, different. But you have to realize that number one, everyone is different. Have that system in place that would allow them to thrive spiritually and intentionally. Because if you're not being intentional, somebody else is. The world, the school, they have their agenda and they have their systems to ensure that they put certain ideologies in their children's mind. So we as parents have to be intentional. That if I'm not speaking to the children about certain topics, the school would. Just this morning, Nathan asked Melissa, Mommy, how does the baby get into your stomach?
Good question.
She said, ask Daddy. It was just this morning. I don't even know where that question came into his head, So as soon as he asked that question, her dad was on the phone. So he goes, hey, you ask your granddad, how did I said, oh, okay. It comes from God, you know. But you have to be intentional that there are questions being asked, ideologies. So just have the vision, intentionality, and tailored approach to your kids.
All right. Yes. Okay.
I feel like I'm talking a lot, but it's fine.
No, it's fine.
I think as parents, there's certain things that you cannot shy about. Talking specifically about even relationships and all that kind of stuff. It was my dad that actually spoke to us about that kind of thing when we were very young. And I was like, but he made it so that we're comfortable to talk to him about that. And then mommy followed suit, if that makes sense. I find that, like Michael said, if the parents are not teaching them, they will go and find it out there in the world. So as parents, you can say, oh, they're too young or they're whatever. When the question comes in their head, you have to answer it.
So, Michael, prepare your answer for your...
Yeah, Pastor, I think to add to what they're saying, I think one day, because me and Emmanuel are the only girls, so when we want to I was just talking to her in the bathroom, and I just showing that I've got sanitary pads there, I've got this, so in case, though she wasn't in her mannequin, but in case something happens, then Emmanuel was, probably he was coming to the bathroom. He said, hey, Mom, what are you talking about? So, and lo and behold, I think a week or 2 weeks after, when they went to school, they spoke about that. Wow. And she said, oh, Mommy has already spoken to me about it. So some of the things, we need to let them know what. And also coming to praise, I think it worked for our family. Because if somebody does something, for Emmanuel, for instance, he is somebody who is competitive. So he would do an exams, he would tell his dad what he wants if he gets the marks. And surely he will get it. So he was like always striving to go high and high and high. So though you might not have the means, but little thing that you can give to your child to just make him appreciate that you appreciate the hard work also goes very far to help them to achieve things.
All right.
Yeah,
so,
Pastor, just before you come in, I believe, sir, we here lived in Ghana and UK. We should be at a better position in terms of making decisions and how to raise our children. We have grown to know and we should know the Okrumhasia Enye. And then take the good of this land, add it to the good of Ghana, and mix them up and raise our children. Example, akolafo basa with tuya pinya etuyanti akolano onjina hoseng. You understand? But Kauba expect to say, then in training the chabaka, so it's only courteous to allow the elderly to sit because you are quite young, you can stand, and maybe the person is weak. It's so still the same principle, but different approach and still get the same result. And I believe, sir, our parents back home, they did a lot of the things, so for Betaikan, sincerely, but they were sincerely wrong. Although they were sincere and doing a lot of things, it was from a clear head and a clear direction, but they didn't have enough knowledge to treat or to do a lot of things the way they force. Or can if come on to my crowd and just say now. So, the approach wasn't right. But then we realized only about he will tell you a lot of interesting things. I believe that let's look back home, let's not dish it away. No. There are a lot of our cultural upbringing that are very good. Let's hold on to that. Now, very good. Let's hold on to that and mix that and raise our children. I believe that we'll have very wonderful children.
Wow. I'm sure, can you share with us your experience so far? How you did it, how you are doing it, what proposal are you giving us to also follow Edamo?
Pastor, I made the proposal, but it's a question that I want to put before everyone for us to reflect. Me, Ankasa, I've been battling with this thing. I mean, solution. Your core expo, no, it's just that those who attended will testify. The pastor who came said something. Say, when We bring the children to church. They learn their service true. It goes into their head. But the challenge is how it gets here,
Into their
the
heart.
heart. So I don't have answers. I don't know how we can get the message into their heart. And so it's sometimes, so our two children, one is more active in the church. I'm not saying, well, he does a lot of things, Oko University. She's doing her own thing. One to Oko University, but the challenge is, how do we get the message from here to here? Because what he was saying was, because the message was here, when he was 13 and he was American, where that time, 14, 15, you are age where you can leave home and stuff, he left. The message, all the time, the message was here, but there was nothing here. So when he hated church with passion, that's what he was saying. So when it comes to church, the things that we do and the things that people ask him makes him even mad. And so it's something that as a church community or as a family, I don't know how we're going to get it here, but it's something maybe let's think about how we get the message from here to here. Because otherwise, everything we'll be doing, that's why we see, we may be here, but they are not here. That's my,
so Dr. Ahin, so let's see the connection. Here and here. Minim so be surgery am I there.
So for answer na me brother penny back but me share me testimony be.
Okay.
Oh yeah, a lot of testimonies. Me things are. I remember between Form 5 and 6th Form, a lot of transition in my life. Madam Papa, we are still friends today, almost every week at Casa. Now I built these speakers. I mean, had 12-inch speakers, like this size in my room. And it was a subwoofer. And your speaker said, boy, the roof and my neighbor's roof will vibrate. So what I say. And the monitor speakers never hono Unam Lipan Hotel, which was like the school at the end. You can hear music coming from this house. And that's how loud I'll play music. And Air Shabarangs. Yeah. So, Mr. And it wasn't sermon. And as my back kind of and it wasn't like me aswadin down kasacha minti, but I loved it. One day, my man said, into uninyumbiaka we hope. And that was the only thing that changed it from the head to the heart.
That is a technical.
It wasn't Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 3.
Technical.
And I think the tone would be beside, kofi uninyumbia se we ape. And that changed the thing from the head to the heart. And since then, all those things just died away. Into the American say, like the prodigal said, until he came to himself. Dear mom pie for the person to come to himself. Until then, dear.
Yeah, Damascus.
All
right. Doc, or the Damascus about medically. Also, the NSA.
From here to here, I mean, we all know there are no brain cells in the heart, right? So even when we talk about the heart, we're talking about the emotional aspect of the brain. So it's still here, but you're just talking about the emotional aspects of the brain. When you talk about emotions, a lot of times it's your experience that you can actually, so the child needs to get some experience and learn from the experience. I mean, there are three different, you can either learn from your own mistakes, learn from other people's mistakes, or read books and make it up. So, unfortunately, children come without a manual. So every child is different. Every child has to find their own way, and the parents also have to find a way of. So you have to look at the child and see what the child likes, and then maybe you begin to address the child based on their own emotional needs, what they are passionate about. And then when you are able to tap into that passionate aspect, that's probably what is going to tap in there. But honestly, at the end of the day, we are all trying, and only God can change things.
All right. All right. Yes. Open discussion. Do you have any question?
Just to add,
all right.
I think today's tithe and offering was a clear example how to get it from the head to the heart. You could have told, the auntie who gives tithe and offering, give your tithe, give your tithe, give your tithe. but she actually saw the faith that her mom had. And that's what we're talking about, being the sermon, being that example. If you're telling a child X, Y, and Z, but then you're not living that faith in your life, it will always be a conscious thing and not a subconscious. We'll talk about the heart.
Yeah.
But if you live that faith talk, that I have not just known about him, but I have experienced him, that's how it goes to the heart. So let the children see how you live out your Christianity and how it's benefited you, and that will let them, those stories will stay with them for the rest of their life.
I remember a classmate whose father was a pastor. We were in class and he was like, I don't want to be a pastor, but my daddy said I should be a pastor. And today he's a pastor and he's suffering. You know, you cannot push the thing from here down here. The person must go through some experiences to be able to get there. Yes, sister.
Pastor, before we go, everybody has a time and period that they meet God or that they get,
a turning point.
Yes. So as parents, we might think, oh, we've said a lot, we've done this, we've done that. We just have to keep on praying and leave the rest to God. So when their time comes, I'm sure by all means they will be like Paul. They will be Damascus in their life.
All right. Yes.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
My first question is to the parents. What I want to know is, why are parents so scared to share what they've gone through? I think, so for me, I found myself recently talking to my dad a lot, and there are things that he went through when he was young that, say, I'll catch them in advance. I think that would have helped me with how they brought me up. But I've noticed they like to cover a lot of things that they went through, and they don't like to tell us. It's later on, or maybe a BBC, they would come and tell us, okay, so. So that's my first question. Why are parents so scared to share their experiences when they were younger? And my second question is, what is a language that parents understand? Because in our house, we have 3 girls, and it's very, I've seen say, like in Titiani, different. Yeah, from my older sister, I think so they were way more harsh on her. With me and my twin sister, I mean, yes, we are twins, but we are very different. You know, my sister is more introvert, I'm more extrovert. But I just want to know, what is a language that parents understand? Because I know it's hard for them as well. But entity are different. Sometimes, and I'm like, I know Sadiana why is wrong, but mom is not saying anything, dad is not saying anything. So I'm like, why? If you're coming to me, yeah. You guys have told me, say, you know, it's not right. There are sometimes some things I can see, say, they have done it wrong, but they're not saying anything. So why? And what is a language that we, the young people, can understand to talk to our parents?
So parents, what spectacles are you wearing? Is it opaque or transparent? We
It's
want
not
to know.
fair.
All right, so
It's not fair.
let me throw it to the congregation first. Why is it so difficult for us to share our past? Why is it so difficult? Okay, so first of all, is it difficult to share? Are we sharing? Okay.
So minim.
Okay, so
Akwala ne papa di second or class that.
Obie di first.
Obie di first.
Yes, and I agree.
Normally, when you do something which is not good, you feel ashamed yourself. So it becomes very difficult to explain to your children. So I understand where she's coming from. For a parent to be frank or to explain to her daughter or son that when I was a child, I did this and this. No. But when she does something, he or she will try to correct the situation. Yeah. So you feel ashamed yourself to say it. But when you repeat the same action, he tries to correct the situation for you.
All right. This is that when you broken heart about I bet you'll see you broken heart by 5. So son, we wait for your situation, then we tell you our experience. Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Sister, on the question, no. I'm not ashamed. Say me name my say me baby. Sebi, say me na me dagata man na me yedenya is past.
Yeah.
What do you? Obi say no, let me feel comfortable in my language, please. Say me chem, enti say me share, me ye no dey na me eye me. Saa me ni dey na me frim na wankwa ankoye bi. Auntie Phyllis bisa kwaku say obisa say me pastor na kwaku say there be because he don't need it now. When he don't need it, why should I tell him? Dear me catch ne say kwaku me good education. Ain't you know there's a certain things I mean no time I me ba say anka menye say no. Not me ferry ain't me to me anye ni. Who when a good foundation ain't enye se me. Ain't it the say no reality me di no me de me life ye na me di no. Me man omunim se mente brofo. Omunim se man ko school da because bibia no ade a twiro bia me mo atwira ma muni ho a me ameye ma ade nya me call a me ka me brofo atwiro me bibia but omo wo ho a me say nti a me di omo akọ school.
Thank you.
They are doing it for me. Me makatwi omo ka brofo me wo mo wo krom ha say. Secondly, enkola they are different. Me PSC ni kwaku okoye exam so say na so be o say chemistry nya 90 na no wanya the previous one also nya 70 BB. I kiss kwaku with my mouth. You a kissy mouth kiss. Papa ya obeba obeka ne de we ya not in a ha mouth. They are different. In theater, sorry, say unu nua no say o ma me say na o si approach you no. Oro kwaku ya de o kan obeba be gina ho aju. Yes mom, yes mom, yes mom. Papa ya oba ya no wa ye nanim say. Oba ya ne den obeku no. Enti akrabia they are different. Into yes say dia me de be punish kwaku no. Me de be punish papa ya wa pastor enye yi. But say ye adwuma na wo che say obi anya ne dia. You see through say obi eye ne dia. But say we ya ye say me man punishment because papa ya opa di ne phone 1 week and fan ko school and fan ho on hwehwe akiri kwaku di ne phone na oto na oye ne hwene. Dia na be into obi anya ne punishment out the man. I think say e be boa me da man.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Pastor me pacho me de nyemi bisa ne say ye Martin ebia ye nyina ye wo ma ebia na me ba wode ne ho kobo damfo bi damfo no nso ebia gangs ni ade na se me hunu se me ba na ekosa atibia no na me kasa kire no na kola ni ntia kwan be ne mefa so a metimi ate me ba no every sa gangs.
All right, so if you have Ophnis and Phinehas in your home, how do you bring them back? Yes, Elder.
Niema ye afamu pen no. Niema ye afamu pen no. O kase bi a yen kan kire ye man ne ade no. Ba bi ho no mu a, hu se ehun hia se o ka kire ne sesi a. Even ye nde ba bi a madure kura pokura yi no. Metimi frɛ wɔm ka kyerɛ wɔn sɛ meyɛ wei sɛ ne kɔsii mi enti mahu sɛ woyɛ bibi saa twe ho firi hɔ wɔho na mekyerɛ no yes at the right time enti no sɛ ebi a ɔyɛ wɔn yɛ mmɔfra no mede wɔn tena ase na meka kyerɛ wɔn sɛ nneɛma yi a wɔn nte aseɛ wɔho na mekyerɛ no enti no at the right time no wobɛtumi ne wɔn atena ase na watu wɔn fo akyerɛ wɔn deɛ sɛ wɔn nyɛ na wɔn yɛtumi ayɛ.
Thank you. Aniti, mami here. So the language, parents etia se pa language pay. Any language as in kasa David. Nemo e kwan be so na ye be fa so bibi koswa ye be kama matiasie. Oh, mommy, you have an answer.
I don't have an answer. I just have a contribution.
Okay.
Speaking from a young person's standpoint, is we've got to, as much as the parents, we want to be like, in the right time, I'll tell my child. When you speak to young people and you actually hear what they're experiencing, you as the parent would never expect that at their age, they're experiencing it, that they're exposed to those kind of things. So parents, I implore you, if you have any life experiences, share it today, because it will prevent them. Like if you speak to me, and some of the things that they tell me, I would have never thought, well, I know that I went through something similar at that age, but as we get older, sometimes we forget the things that we've been through, and then also you have to look at the environment that they're growing up in, things that they're experiencing, the people that they're interacting people from different walks of life, and because of that, we can't control the different factors that they're encountering each and every single day. So to say that I'll share this with them at the right time, sometimes we're doing ourselves a disservice, because if you shared your experiences with your child right now and be like, at your age, I did A, B, C, and D, and this caused me X, Y, and Z, then when they experience and encounter certain people that are going through or doing something or encouraging them to partake in something, they're going to have that to reflect back on and say, my mom and dad have mentioned something like this to me, and this was the result of it. You might not think that a 13, 14-year-old will be experiencing some things, but these guys are growing up too fast, and they're being exposed to too many things that they shouldn't have been exposed to. Some of the things that I was exposed to at 16, 17, some of these 14, 15-year-olds have already experienced that. 12-year-olds. Some of them, their classmates are parents. So you have to have these conversations with them. It's all well and good to say, sir, when they get to that point, I'll explain that to them. But you can't control who they meet on the street, who they're friends with at school, what music they're listening to, what shows they're watching, that's influencing them. So if you have any experience to share with them, share with them now. Prepare them in advance. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
So our children only open up when they see us as their friends.
Sorry, just to add, and we need to humanize ourselves as parents. If we don't share with them the broken pieces of ourselves, they see us as, you're not relatable to us. You don't understand what I'm going through. But when you share these things to yourself, that builds a bridge of communication between you and your child. And that when they're going through something that I can go to my mom, I can go to my dad, they're not going to go to somebody else. They're not going to come to me, the youth leader, and tell me something when you, the parent, are perfectly there, able to understand it, because you become their safe place and their place of understanding.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I think practically, it's not about, come and let me sit down, let me tell you what happened from clean to clang. It just needs to be, oh my days, let me tell you what happened. When I was 15, there was this guy in my neighborhood, oh my days, and he really liked me. Just little things like that. It doesn't need to be one long lecture, and it doesn't need to be over, okay, this week I'm going to express my whole life to them. No, it needs to be little things like, oh, let me tell you how I got the scar. Let me tell you why I don't like people touching my ears. Let me tell you why I don't like that food that your dad loves. Little things like that. And that you as the parent, you become more comfortable. You don't see your child as this thing that you have to just swaddle. You see them as a human being that is a child now, but they'll grow to become an adult. And the child sees you, as Mami Tua said, as their safe space. So they can come to you and be like, oh my days, Mama, remember when you told me this? Yeah, I've probably had something similar. When I've gone through certain things in life, haven't gone to my friends, it's my parents. It's my parents that I've gone to. And because they allowed me, they humanized themselves to me. They bridged that gap. So I'm comfortable. Like, my mom will even tell my sister, so no cry, and yet it's me that she'll come and fight with, because we have that relationship. My sister also has her own relationship with mom and dad. Do you know what I mean? But as the parent, don't set yourself up somewhere, because sometimes that's how your child will even see God. See them set apart somewhere else, unrelatable. I can't go to God about this thing because I can't go to my parents about this thing. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. But all right, just for us to run up. Almost time. Yeah, so I will add this one to it so that you add it to your answers. So if your child is going wayward, you've spoken to your child, he's not listening. What next do you do? attitude answer.
Okay, so I'll just start off with when my mum got into the church, she refused to acknowledge anything she'd done out in the world. So when I became of age and I was dressing a certain way and I'd listen to certain music, all my family around me, her sisters and her brothers would tell me, oh my gosh, you're just like your mum when she was younger. And my mum would say, shut up, shut up, shut up. She'd refuse it, like, I never done that, I never done that, you know. But it was just because she wanted to show me a good image.
Yes.
Okay, so she closed down anything, how she used to dress, how she used to go. All the guys used to like her. She used to be popular. She used to be bad, you know. So when I had my own image, it was like, I never done that. I never listened to that. I never went there. But she did, okay? And I had my aunts and my uncles to tell me that and remind me and even show me pictures. And then she was like, I don't know where they got that from. But now being a parent, as I said, I always mix a bit of the old with the new because my family were quite, they were quite flexible. And one thing I do love about today, and it's a good thing to do with the youngsters, is listen, but we don't judge, right? So it's an exercise you can all do at home, and it's where you give your children the opportunity to be honest and real to you. Doesn't matter what they do. The thing is to listen, but don't judge. Because there are things that will come out just by listening and not judging. And once they say that once, they will bring it back to you again without you even saying that. So we all make mistakes. To act like as parents, we do not make mistakes. We all make mistakes. And sometimes you, and as a parent, you can use it. Listen, but don't judge. So like how Mickey said, Vanessa doesn't like the sweets and the fizzy drinks and stuff, so they'll have it in the car before they go home. That's listening.
Oh, is that what you go? And one so kid ever.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, although that's Vanessa's rules and regulations, Mickey, it's just nice that you can, okay, you eat in the car, stop. It's just nice that you can be honest. Because although Mickey's not supposed to eat in the car with the children, they can at least bring that to her and be honest, and she just has to listen, but don't judge. So listening, but not judging means you cannot chastise them. Just allow them to be free. And you can do it for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then, you know, and leave it there.
Yes.
I wanted to just say, you know, as young people, we also have to give our parents some credit. Because the reality is, it hasn't been an easy journey. Especially when you ask them with the journey that they've come from. Like when you speak to certain adults and you speak about their childhood, it was very traumatic. You know, like our parents are dealing with a lot of trauma. And these are traumatic parents who are doing the best that they can to raise up children in a totally different environment. So I think, yes, there is some onus on the parents, but it has to equally be responsibility and onus on the young people as well. Because the reality is that we are born looking like our parents, but we will die looking like our choices. There's going to come a time when we have to take full responsibility for the actions that we've chosen. Now, my mom used to always say to my sister Josephine, or all of us, that you guys are coming. The way I'm treating you, you are coming, you know. And just the other day, obviously, my little sister's got 2 kids. She called and said, her younger one is not listening to her. I said, you are saying that somebody's not listening to somebody. Like, how does that even sound? You who didn't listen to nobody, now you're complaining that somebody's not listening to you. Enjoy it. And she messaged me, said, Michael, right now, I'm so depressed. I can't, my child is sick. And I was just laughing. Because if you look at even our parents, they didn't have the education. They used to go cleaning early in the morning. They will come home, cook. They had nobody. Now we've got our grandparents to just give our kids to. Our parents came knowing nobody. Like, especially when you speak to Melissa's dad. He was dropped in Germany at 19 years old by himself. Nobody. Didn't understand the language. The connection man just dropped them and said, now fend for your life. And he was sleeping at a bus stop for many days until he met somebody who was Ghanaian and passed by, took him to the house. So as young people, we have to understand that our parents will feel difficult to tell us their stories because it's painful. But we have to ask them. Sit down and ask them, what was it like to go through this? And then there will be lessons that we can also learn as well.
Wow. What a way to almost end the program. What a way. So maybe two more points. Try and answer Mabeki's question of
mine is a question.
Oh, it's a question?
Yes. So
after sundown.
I want to start with a preamble. You know, the Bible says in Proverbs that train a child the way he should go, so that when he grows, he shall not depart from it. Now, I want to focus on the education aspect of things. We know as Seventh-day Adventists, we have a church. We have a school. You don't take your child to that school. Then the child goes into a secular institution and departs from the faith. Do you blame yourself, God, or the child? That's my first question. The second question also has a preamble. It says, whether you eat or drink or whatsoever you do it in the glory of God. Now, as parents, when we are choosing a course of study for our children, do we choose it to glorify God? And if we do, how do we do that? Those are my two questions. Thank you.
All right.
Pastor, can I answer the education bit? But you said you've got 7 Adventist schools. Is it Ghana or here? Here, we only have 1.5 7 Adventist schools here. We call, so now one of it is a special needs school, which is Eden. We've got Stamborough, which is, there are some schools that they'll give their educational faith, but they're not doing well when it comes to education. You have to look at the Ofsted report as well. And the 7 Adventist schools, we don't have it like you have in Ghana, where there's so many 7 Adventist schools in location. The schools are quite far. For someone that lives like in Southwark or lives in Kent, to travel all the way to Watford or North London and take your child is a bit of a trip as well. So we don't have that many institutions around here. They do have a lot of Roman Catholic schools, which is quite close to our beliefs, but obviously we've got differences. And we've got Christian schools within the community. I don't think there are some, because I worked in a 7 Adventist school. We worked in 7 school. And some of the kids, they were worse than the kids that are not in 7 Adventist schools. So I don't think it's the school, I think it's the home. The home is the environment and it's the people around you. So I would definitely disagree that if you don't send your kid to 7 Adventist school, you should blame yourself. We don't have that luxury here at all.
In fact, the best Adventist education is the education you have in the Adventist home. So if you don't have Adventist schools to send your children, make your home an Adventist home. And if that is done, I'm sure it will be fine for us. Yes, last person.
Okay, I'm just going back on what Maria said. It's a very, very powerful thing. We had Mental Health Awareness Week for children this week. And one thing that we realized was parents don't listen. So when you were saying that what language do parents speak, sometimes as parents we need to just listen to our children, because sometimes their needs, as much as we can tell them about our past, tell them everything that's going on, we also need to listen to what's going on daily. The problem that we encounter later on when children are not listening is because you didn't listen to them. So listen to everything that goes on, whether it's something small, I want to tell you about my day, I want to tell you how I'm feeling, whatever it is, let's make sure we're also listening to our children.
All right. Yes. Who else? Oh, education.
I think listening to you all, and I mean what Michael touched on about understanding where our parents came from and their struggles. It humbles our children, and they need to respect us, and we need to have a relationship with them. But everything that we do, when it comes to what Elder Amo said about connecting the heart and the head, it's living it. We come to church, we hear the word, we go home, we behave differently. And the children see us. It drew 18, 19, not omukwa baby for fra. Then, my mom, are you a Christian? And when you come home, you do this, and you talk about this person, and you do this, and you talk about the pastor. Are you a Christian? They're not going to be like us. So it will be a struggle to get them here. What we live here, we've been in school, we've been learning about modeling, and it's all about what they see. So children learn from what they see. So if it's about a Christian life, let's live like a Christian in church and at home. And it will be easy for them to make that connection.
So let me balance the discussions. See, Nyamia Dumunti, the children we have here, they are not that bad.
Amen.
Don't see them as bad. They are not that bad. For your children to follow you to church in this Jay-Z generation, thank God. Just thank God. For them to listen to you and come and sleep on their beds, thank God. Because there are people looking for their children, they don't know where to find them. So if you are seeing them, you are able to talk to them, they listen to you and say, yes, ma'am, but you're the nyamiase. And ye bad, sir. And it's the effort we put in. And it's my home somewhere some. Because junkie is not home about me, but just a junkie or your bar. Come in your bay. And it's see these people, sir. We are helping them to grow. Mama can also be your heart. I say, or call wayward. How do we get them back? Human efforts can never fight that battle. Who put in all efforts? The only thing that will help you is the God factor. So we be take it to God in prayer. And I know, and then a day, but the China will be very say, where am I? And the person will be like Paul. One day, Obeshia Yesu or Damascus. And you'll be amazed that person will say, Mom, let's go back to church. Don't give up. Don't give up. And it's the idea dance and ye kwa. If you crown a muscle and opameka, and a bonnet war, a one about papa war. Mesro, Yabotre. Susukan 7, what they spread it to do. Or young Qualaboni sem will fear. When they came, we are Sususa or cano, or two or baby a shiny buffo. And it took we are fire and piebo. Sometimes you talk too much. And everybody knows about how bad your child is. But you don't know about how bad somebody's child is. Miss all can do. Just take it to God in prayer. Some came here, mom. And to make her own mom say. And let us strive and pray. I want to thank all of you. In fact, it has been amazing. And I've learned a lot. And one thing I want to end is that how you were trained back home, myself. Sadieno. Udi bedukrum ha. Wa hia mwasa koba Ghana. Me papa dieno. The last slap I received from my father, na me Yale University. My God. And I sit back and I say that, did I really deserve that slap? Maybe I was defending my mom. So there was something my father was doing. And he was proud of it. My father went to SDA 1 year. 1994 July and ended 1995 July. So, I mean, I saw that my father had lots of concubines. So today when my mother is not there, another woman will come. No, come here, sister. Go and spend the weekend there. So at a point, I saw that he was talking to a certain lady. So I picked, because I'm smart, I picked the lady's number, befriended the lady, talking to her. Wow. Then, to the point, I said, "Our ladies are not here." Those are when Kufoba Snabana, now a conductor. Then one day, when he was coming from work, he was talking to the lady. Then when he got into the room, my mother started. Then he wanted to defend it. Show me phone. Then he handed the phone over to my mom. Then I took the phone. Daddy, my name number way. Then I took my phone, dialed the number. Then I mentioned the name. Odyssey, Oye Ejuma wa ha. Ha! Not them. Even though I received that slap, that solved the problem. Because he stopped it. And I saved my mother. But that slap, I still remember. Those things, how we were treated back home. Please, as a trouble, and we must begin to have conversations with them. They are smart. The guys we see. When I was coming here with my children, I told them, I sat the three of them down. I told them, you know what? I'm a director in Ghana. I am doing this, I'm doing this. I am sacrificing because of you. If you disgrace me, the Lord will punish you. Yeah, I told them. And you know, when they are messing up, the small boy will tell them, Daddy says he is sacrificing for us. Let's be careful. And I told them that if you mess up, I'll take you back to Ghana. You see, tell them the truth, but be tactful. I'm sure if you're not there, they'll remember that you're making some sacrifices for them. So tell them, sit them down, tell them what you are going through. If you are suffering, you are doing morning, afternoon, evening. It was for one on your Ghana, so back what's not Ghana, on ye jume biom, no be a ye juma di ahena, ompe, ya eti, one empe. We all want to go back home, but because of the children, we cannot go. Because and at the aba, social phone number, and omeko mukrum. And I tell you, sir, let's just sacrifice for them, but let's pray more. My wife has been doing something, and I think it's good. Every morning before she moves out of the house, please do it. Pray for them. Stop complaining and pray for them. That means say the etie biara onyame nim kwan a obefa so agye mofra no. Esu na wusu no onyame ehu su no wate su no. Ebre sem no obehye ne hwani monyam. Enti emu akuma ntutu. Ebi wa won say I am helping others. Ma bo ankrofo bebre ade na me nko ami ba we die. Me say wa ba so obenya dance entra. Enti nya abotre ne ho dance e beba. Kosi sa dance ne beba no. I'm here, I'll be complaining, blaming me so much. Please. God bless all of us for these discussions. Please, let's continue to share. We did this for us to know that we have a lot to share. Share with people. Let's help one another. Say the bear together. Echina. So be a benina. Yen kokrane mrewane nyame adomne ekọ Ghana. Oh. Now, Dr. Bia Bagana. Yetibika say, oh, this young man, I know him. At least we'll all be proud of Sam ranting him about we. I'm only inviting you to this week's Family Ministries Week. I know most of us, evening service, we don't come at all. Jay-Z for they don't come at all. Please, this week, let's make it a point to be there. I know sometimes you are so busy, but you can still tune in. No one muting. Then just come and listen. Now, MY, it is going to be discussions. So if you have ideas, you can also bring the ideas on board. And I know we are going to have a wonderful week this week. So let's pray. If you are not able to join the morning devotion, you've not been able to join before. Now our number is hitting 30, 40. If you have more device back on ever. So I'm sure we are hitting, Michael, we are hitting 50. Yeah, you've not been there. When are you coming with Mickey? So let's all try, let's do well, and then join and pray together. I know the mercies of God would continually dwell amongst us. At this point, would rise and sing, Now Thank We All Our God. Mickey, the organ is waiting for you. Thank you. Let's all rise. to ask Eda Kobia to lead us in prayer. Eda, please pray for parents, pray for children, pray for the week's program, and ask the Lord to protect us and see us through this week.
Gracious and everlasting Father, King of kings and Lord of lords, we thank you for this afternoon, that we've started a conversation that will bring families together, a conversation that would help parents to understand the world and the world to understand the parents. But for all of this to be successful, we know it will take your intervention and the presence of your Holy Spirit. We pray that this gap between parents and the worlds will be bridged through your Holy Spirit, and that the vision of both the children and the parents will be the same, and that peace, which surpasses all understanding, will dwell among homes, that the enemy will have no part in the life of our children and the life of the parents. We commit each and every one here to your care, both parents and children, married or unmarried, that you who have begun a good work in us, Father, may you continue to carry on until the expected end. Until then, Father, we say, take absolute control of our homes, take absolute control of our lives, and let our will be done. In Jesus' name have we prayed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Shall we be seated? Edamo, is there any announcement? All right. Okay. Mespa.
You want to hear me no time? Michael, give the phone to somebody to take the picture.